Hey, it's Whitney. Today's video is an unedited Q&A video. I wanted to record some answers to some fantastic questions I received lately about the vegan lifestyle, healthy living, weight loss, living eco-friendly. Most of these questions have come from responses to my most recent newsletter. If you're not signed up for the newsletter yet, I recommend it. It's linked to down below in the description. I, from time to time, will send out emails based on big projects that I'm working on or big news, things that I really want to share that I don't want to get lost in like the social media world. So if you sign up, it'll go directly to your email. And this past newsletter, I asked everybody reading to tell me how they were doing. And only a small percentage of people replied. And I think it's because not many people realize that I actually read every single reply, but I also try to reply myself. I don't always have the best track record of replying to things because I get a little overwhelmed with correspondence, but I felt like because of the heartfelt responses I received and all of the amazing questions, it would be great to do a video to share with you what other people are asking, what other people are struggling with, so that if you have these same questions, you will get the answers, and you'll also know that if you ask them to me, I'm going to do my best to answer them. I also really miss doing Q&A videos. I don't know if you remember, but back in 2014, I used to do these live Q&As every Saturday, and I miss doing them. So I've kind of been thinking about doing them. I don't know exactly what the structure would be, but if you would like to see those again, I'm considering it, and I've dabbled a little bit of that in Facebook Live videos, so as another reminder, be sure to follow Eco Vegan Gal on Facebook Live if you want to see those videos, because those are some of my favorite things to do, especially with the rise in live video right now. But anyways, I'm going to share with you, some of these are long questions, but I think the details are super important, and I've linked to each question down below. If you want to skip forward, you want a little preview, you don't have a ton of time, you can go directly to a specific question. And I also just want to express how grateful I am for the positivity in the comment section of my latest video before this, which is called I've Been Meaning to Tell You About This. That's the first video I had done in like 3 months, and I was nervous about reading the comments because I'm so sensitive, and sometimes people say things that just hurt my feelings. And so I was like really nervous about reading it, but I wanted to read the comments to see if there are any questions I could share in today's video, and there is one that I'm going to address. But I was blown away by the positivity, and it's sad that I should be so surprised by that, isn't it? But I guess I've just gotten accustomed to there being at least like one really negative thing that people would say. And I'm also like very grateful about how polite everybody was, because I was like waiting for somebody to mention how it looked like I might be naked in that past video. I didn't realize till after I finished recording it that my hair, the way that it was on my body, was covering up the straps of my shirt. And so like in the very beginning, it just doesn't look like I'm wearing anything. Now, I guess maybe you guys either assumed that I was wearing something because it's not within my personality to be naked on camera, but I think also people were being really polite, and I appreciate that, unless it just like went into a spam folder on YouTube. That's possible too. But anyways, I just wanted to acknowledge the kindness. So let's dive into these wonderful questions. I'll start with a YouTube question, which I think there was only one. Somebody asked, do you know a vegan shampoo that is good for general hair care and affordable? I have tried a ton of shampoos over time, and I will link down below to some resources for every question that I'm going to talk about. I'll link to some of my favorite shampoos. And also, if you didn't know this already, on YouTube, you can search within a channel for videos that mention a certain thing. So if you go on to the Eco Vegan Gal YouTube channel and search for shampoo, you'll see any time that I've talked about shampoos. One of the most recent videos I did, which was back in like September, I talked about this company called Mix Nature that makes really great shampoo that I've been using lately. And it costs about like $9 or $10. You order it online. I'm not sure what affordable means to each person, but for a good natural shampoo that's going to give you good results, I think that's a good price. I've also really liked Avalon Organics, and I've linked to them down below too. I did a video on them a couple years ago, and I've been using their shampoos off and on. I think they're closer to like $7, maybe even less, depending on where you buy them. They've been really solid. And both companies are kind of gender neutral. They're not really like for women specifically. Men can use them as well. I mean, Giovanni used to be a brand that I used to buy a lot. I think they might sell them at Trader Joe's. But I like to just switch out my hair care a lot just to get variety and try different companies. So stay tuned, do the search on my channel. I'll link to some recommendations down below. But as something that you can find easily in most stores like Whole Foods or any natural market, Avalon Organics is great. If you're having trouble finding something, I would order online, and I would try Mix Nature because you can actually customize based on what's going on with your hair at the time. My hair right now is acting a little crazy. I think it needs to be washed. So don't judge what my hair looks like right now. I've actually been washing my hair a lot at my yoga studio because I go to hot yoga and I cannot leave the gym without showering. And they use an eco line whose name is escaping me right now. I will link to it down below. It works fantastically. I've had really great results from it. And it's nice to be at a yoga studio that has eco-friendly stuff. Now I'm like really self-conscious about my hair. Okay, so I think that's the only question from YouTube. So I'm going to dive into the questions from the newsletter responses. And I just want to give such a big heartfelt thank you to everyone who replied. It was a very small percentage of that newsletter, but hearing from anyone and hearing about your lives was like amazing. It blows me away when I ask people to open up about how they're doing and they share such detail. So I hope you guys enjoy some of these responses. It's funny, some people would start off their email saying, let's see if you even reply to us. And this how are you question might not have been specifically for me, but I'm going to answer anyways. And I just want you guys to know that I really mean everything that I say. I know sometimes people online can come across as not authentic. And my mission is to be as from the heart as possible in everything that I do. And I think that people are just so used to people online putting up a front, trying to be someone that they're not just to get attention or just to get people to buy from them or whatever else it is. And I'll admit that goes into my thought process. That's part of being a professional online and making this your whole career. But I also do everything from the heart. I don't say anything, write anything, speak anything that isn't something that I believe in. So when I ask how you are, I really do want to know. Okay, so the first question, I'm not going to name any names just to keep everything confidential. This first question is, I love being vegan, but I'm stuck at 150 pounds and I'm 5'2". Any suggestions? I do want to say I know how challenging it is to struggle with weight. And I don't know off the top of my head in terms of ratio 5'2" and what 150 pounds is exactly in terms of like health and body mass index. But I'm guessing that no matter what a doctor would say about that, is just something that is not feeling good to you. And I think that it's super important for us to check in with ourselves and not just look at the scale and not look at the mirror, but like, how do we feel on a day-to-day basis? And I know what it's like to just feel like you're not looking your best or feeling your best. And that to me is really important, unless you're struggling any other conditions related to that weight. So I would highly recommend that you check out my series called Healthy Balanced Vegan Body. I want to say like 15 videos in that series where I went through all of these great books that covered the top tips on plant-based living, diet, and exercise. And wow, I learned so much from that, and I summarized that in each of those videos. So I'll link to the playlist and you can kind of skip through and see which ones are calling your name. There's also a summary video where it's like 30 minutes long, and I summarized all the top tips from all of those books. So if you don't have time to watch all the videos in the series, you can just watch the summary. And that one has some great tips in it. If you're super short on time, which many of us are, I'm going to give you some of the top tips from that right now. So number one is to exercise at least 30 minutes a day, even if this is just a walk, a little jog. That has helped me so much in my life, just making sure I get in that time. I wear an Apple Watch normally. It's on my desk right now charging, but it has helped me really be mindful of how much movement I have each day. Right now, I tend to average about an hour of exercise a day because I'm really committed to going to hot yoga classes. So finding types of fitness that really feel good to you, that are affordable, that are convenient, is life-changing. So I go through phases. Sometimes I don't go to a fitness place. Sometimes I'm just walking and hiking every day with my dog. But I find that when I'm in the best shape is when I'm consistently going to a fitness class and investing in that. It is not cheap in Los Angeles to get a good workout at a studio, but man, it is worth every single penny because I feel my absolute best. You can look for great deals online about that, so don't let money get in the way. And if it's a huge issue, just simply get outside and walk. The next tip is to track what you eat and to meal plan. These are things that I really need to do. Actually, I also meant to say to eat mindfully. I am working on that, and that is a huge struggle for me, but I find that when I'm actually writing down what I'm eating and when I'm making a plan and going to the store and only buying the things that are on my list, I save money. I wrote a whole ebook on this, by the way, if you're looking to eat well on a budget. It's called Healthy Organic Vegan on a Budget. It's linked to down below, and it's all these tips on meal planning and tracking your food and just finding a way to incorporate healthy living without spending a ton of money. But in terms of the weight side of it, it makes such a big difference because when I get busy, when I am not thinking very well about the food that I'm eating, that's when I don't eat very well. And that's when my body just doesn't look or feel as good as it could. So the next big thing on my personal to-do list is to start meal planning and to doing some tracking to really take inventory about what I'm putting into my mouth every day. Next up is to drink lots of water. I actually started being super mindful about drinking water through that Healthy Balanced Vegan Body series. A couple of the books really emphasize the importance of drinking like eight glasses of water a day or whatever it is for your specific body. And when I started paying attention to that and really making sure I got a ton of water, it made a huge difference in my health overall, and that could really help with weight loss. Cutting out things like alcohol and avoiding simple sugars, reducing the amount of high-fat foods in your diet, especially added things like oils. Most people really recommend, based on these experts that I was reading from. And fat is a very debatable topic. I'm not going to get into it right now, but some of those books, those videos that I summarize those books, we'll get into some more details on that topic. Then just not eating 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. Another thing that I need to do. That's all about planning. I mean, really, planning plays a huge role in all of this. Planning your food, planning your exercise, planning water, planning when you're going to go to sleep and when you're going to finish food, planning to eat foods that are better for you versus all the junk foods, easy to grab stuff. And lastly, because I think a lot of that stuff is common sense or things that we hear a lot. And you might be going, yeah, I know. You just have to make it a consistent routine and stick to it. And that's one of the hardest things about losing weight. But the last thing I want to say that is not so obvious is to reduce the amount of stress in your life. Stress actually greatly contributes to what our bodies look like and how we feel. If we're not getting enough sleep, we can put on weight. If we're feeling horrible about ourselves, we might overeat. If we're, stress itself just creates a reaction in our body that can lead to weight gain. And I think so many people are stressed out for one reason or another. I have been meditating every single day for the past couple weeks, and it has changed my life. So simply being more relaxed, tuning into myself for at least 5 minutes a day, which all of us can make time for, has led to rapid change in my life, and I know it can for all of you. So if you're checking off the box for all of the things I'm saying, but you're feeling super stressed, find ways to de-stress. Keep trying until you find something that's super effective for you, and wait till you see the results. I hope that helps out. And again, all of the videos that I've mentioned are linked down below. Next question. It's a long one. I'm having a bit of difficulty. I was vegan for 3 years and had some difficulty sticking with it during the time that I got to my 3rd trimester of my pregnancy. Ever since I've slowly progressed into eating the way I used to eat before I went vegan. My son is almost 3 now, and I'm ready to tackle getting back into vegan, especially since I have seen there was a study that proved that a vegan diet is great for reducing blood pressure and obesity in kids. However, my son's father and I are divorced, and there's no way I can convince him to feed our son a vegan diet. So here's the question. Do you think it would cause more harm than good to stick to a vegan diet when he's with me, even though I have no control or clue over what he is fed at his dad's house? Now, I've done a few videos interviewing parents. I'm not a parent yet, but I've read books on this subject. I've talked to a lot of people on it. I will link to some of those videos in the description down below. You can check them out and hear specifically from mothers. I believe, though, that the mothers I was speaking with were in marriages at the time, at least, or in relationships. Actually, no, you know what? One of them was separated from her son's father, so I just can't remember what she shared in the video or not, but I'll link to them. I highly recommend that you watch or listen to all of them just to get the tips from other vegan moms, because I know this can feel scary. Luckily, there's so much information coming out about vegan parenting, and again, I'll link to as many resources as I can in the description for you. There's Alicia Silverstone put out a book called The Kind Mama, and there's a few others that I will link to. So number one is to know that there's those resources and you're not alone, and it's not super weird. It's just not fully embraced by the mainstream quite yet, but neither is veganism. It's getting there, so give it some time. And I would say that it actually, I think, would do some good if you fed your son a vegan diet while he's with you. You know, we can never control what other people are going to do. So what he does with his dad, whether he's making that choice or whether his dad's making the choices for him, you know, it doesn't matter what you're feeding him, vegan or not. He might be eating completely differently at his dad's house regardless. Like, you can give him healthy food at your house and his dad might give him McDonald's or other junk food. So you might as well feed him a healthy vegan diet. I would say that from a health perspective and a digestive perspective, you might want to have a conversation with the dad just to make sure that's not too rapidly different, because that could affect how your son feels. If he's eating super clean one day and then eating junk food, it's going to throw that balance off. And that would be true of any of us, to swing back and forth between a healthy and unhealthy or a processed and unprocessed diet wouldn't be so great. So maybe the dad, while he might not agree with veganism, maybe you can agree to eating a certain way. And, you know, there's often such a small difference between what vegans eat and what meat eaters eat. You know, it can be the difference between a salad with no chicken on it and a salad with chicken on it. If chicken's the only variable there, it's not as big of a deal versus having a salad versus a burger and cheese and French fries, right? So I think if you can have a conversation and say, like, where are these small adjustments and how can they be made, that could be a good compromise. And I know that it's really challenging. Luckily, your son's 3 years old, and at a certain point, he'll be able to make some decisions for himself. There's a really inspiring video that I'll share down below of a young boy talking about veganism himself. He's saying it from his own mouth, not his mom talking about it, but this little boy. And there are kids out there that are about 3 years old, 4 or 5, and they're talking about veganism very intelligently. So, you know, your son will be able to make some decisions and verbalize them very, very soon if he's not already. So hang tight. Know that, you know, a couple years of eating non-vegan or eating unhealthily aren't going to ruin his life. I went vegan when I was about 20 years old, and I'm much healthier than I ever was. So I had spent 20 years of my life eating meat and dairy and eating lots of junk food, processed food, not knowing what I was doing. I would have been very grateful to have a conscious mother like you at 3 years old. So you're doing a great job. All right, next question. And by the way, anybody else who's watching, if you're a mother or if you can relate to, or a parent, I don't want to just leave it at moms, but a parent of any type. And this goes for all of the questions that I'm covering today. Please chime in and share your advice as well. We're in this together. I want everybody to feel supported. And that reminds me of just a quick mention of my new project called Eco Vegan Pal. I'm not going to talk about it too much right now because it's a lot's in development. But if you want to stay in the loop of what this project is turning out to be, there is a link down below in the description. And basically, my aim with Eco Vegan Pal is to do similar to what I'm doing right now, to have these conversations, to share advice, for everybody to come together as a community to feel supported. Because as you're going to hear in some of these responses, a lot of people feel alone, and you don't have to be alone. You can feel like you have friends all around the world and just not feel like you're doing it all on your own and you have to kind of guess or I don't know why I'm struggling to just say all this. I'm trying not to repeat myself, but I just want to keep saying that you have support and you're not alone and you have friends, and that's a huge mission of mine to support all of you guys. And that's why I'm working on this project called Eco Vegan Pal, and I hope to have it out there very soon. I have beta testers working on it right now, or that will be part of this membership. See, I don't know why I'm slipping up. I get a little nervous talking about Eco Vegan Pal because it's so dear to my heart, and I haven't talked about it that much verbally, so I'm still figuring out the ways to describe it. But stay tuned, and if you don't want to miss any info about it, sign up for the mailing list down below. Okay, on to the next question. I am vegetarian. I have let go of the milk. Cheese is getting there, and eggs are something I don't eat as often, but it's the byproducts and everything, like sweet treats at the office looking at me in the face, and I feel bad not eating it if my coworkers offer, and then I feel even worse eating it at all. I know some people went straight vegan and had their slow steps to it, and I feel like I'm just hanging on to it for some reason. I can go a week being vegan, but the following week I go back to junk food. And that's another thing. Junk food. Ever since I seen vegan products go boom in the market, every single item out there is junk. It's not even healthy vegan junk food. Or it's not even healthy vegan food. And there are festivals all around the stuff too, so I get a bit discouraged. I do want to be vegan and stop being stubborn and neglectful towards what is happening to our animals and to our planet. I don't want to ignore the issues. Do you have videos about the difficulty in going vegan, or something for people who want to go vegan but struggle somehow? So yes, I'm working on that with Eco Vegan Pal. That's a huge mission of mine, as I struggled to say earlier, but I have I'm trying to think. I mean, I have over 1,000 videos across all my YouTube channels, so forgive me. Sometimes it's really hard for me to recall what is in that catalog. Maybe if people watching have some favorites out there, you can let me know. I will try to link to some that I find, or I will link to some that I find in the description for you, but I'm probably going to miss some. So if anybody else is watching, they're like, hey, Whitney, don't forget the video you did on this subject, please let me know. The Q&A series is really great for that because they answer questions like this all the time. And I want to say I did like 20 of those, but don't quote me on that. I will link to that series, and you can look in the description and skim through all the different questions and just get a lot of support. I would say my whole channel is really about supporting people and being vegan, so there's a lot of resources for you. In terms of junk food, it's all kind of relative what you consider junk, because there are so many different opinions on what's healthy and what's not, what's good for you, what's bad for you, what's good for the environment, bad for the environment. It can be really overwhelming, and that in itself can prevent people from going vegan. So I wouldn't get too nitpicky when it comes to your food choices, because that can lead you down a very dangerous road. That can make it very overwhelming. That can make it feel like you're never going to be able to do it right. And that can even lead to eating disorders for some people, myself included. So not trying to overanalyze your food, especially if you're brand new to veganism, I would say just eat vegan and be relaxed about it. Now, that's not to say that veganism necessarily equals healthy. Of course, there's a lot of processed food out there. There's a lot of junk food, depending on how you define it. So I think it's great that you're being mindful of it. I would look for cleaner options and just stick to simple single ingredients as much as possible. So avoid packaged food if that stuff is driving you kind of crazy, and focus on salads and soups, sandwiches, grain bowls, anything that's just made with plants, with grains, with beans, legumes, seeds, nuts, simple stuff. Go to the store and make it yourself, or go to a great restaurant where you recognize everything on the ingredient list and you're going to be doing pretty well for yourself. Packaged food, though, can make it simpler. If you're not vegan because it feels too inconvenient, that's part of the beauty of packaged food. And I eat packaged food all the time, and people have shamed me over that and judged me for those decisions. But you know what? I'm very, very committed to veganism. I'm committed to my health. And I don't think that there's anything that wrong with eating packaged food every now and then. Also, depending on what it is, there is a lot of unprocessed packaged food, which seems like an oxymoron, but you can get a lot of raw vegan food, for example, that just happens to be packaged, and it's that way for convenience purposes. There are a lot of oil-free plant-based diet foods like Engine 2 in the United States, like at Whole Foods, I think it might be exclusive to. There's all sorts of great cereals, and I think they have some frozen foods, and Engine 2 is known for being super clean, oil-free food. And I think, is it sugar-free? I don't remember. So my point is like, just because it's packaged doesn't mean that it's bad for you. But if we're talking like you're looking at the ingredient list and you can't recognize ingredients, it's super long, then you might want to avoid it. But if it seems like something you want to have as a treat, don't shame yourself out of eating it every now and then, is my point. That's where the slip-ups happen. You mentioned that you let go of milk. That's great. Cheese you're getting there with. There's a lot of really great packaged vegan cheeses out there, and a lot of them are processed. But if that helps you cut out the cheese, you can use it as a transition period. You can also make your own cheeses. There's a ton of books out there about this and YouTube videos. So that's something that you can do in time or now if you're ambitious. And eggs, if you don't eat them often, but you want them every now and then, there's a ton of packaged eggs. Follow Your Heart vegan egg is fantastic. It's kind of processed, though. And I forget, does it have carrageenan in it? I can't remember. And then, you can go super simple with eggs, depending on how you're using them, and just use tofu or use flax or chia seed if you're baking. I mean, there's a lot of options out there, but go for the ones that are helping you go vegan, and then start figuring out which are less junky and processed for you. That would be my recommendation. If health comes first and veganism comes second, I understand that as well, but it's all a matter of what your priorities are. Okay. Next one is a little vague, but I just want to mention this. Someone said that they're dealing with bowel troubles, and it's a drag trying to figure out what I can eat and what causes the trouble. I want to say that I can really relate to this. I have struggled with a lot of digestive issues, and a lot of people do actually. I have some videos linked in the description field for you about this subject. There's a great book that I've read called, over there and I can't see the name, I think Is Food Making You Sick? I think is the title. I did a whole video on this, and that was super helpful for me. There's also the Body Ecology Diet. Both of these I've done videos on. Great books about this subject matter. Hey, Evie. Sorry, she's doing weird things in the background. I know you guys love seeing Evie, though, so I'm glad she's back there. And I didn't plant her. That's just where she happened to be when I started recording. Anyways, I just want to let you know that I can relate. If you ever have specific questions about digestive things, let me know. Probiotics, I cannot rave enough about. I've linked to my favorite down below. And just go through my videos, especially from the past few years. I've talked a lot about digestive things. And I also highly recommend my friend Vince Leah. He has struggles with this as well. I think he has ulcerative colitis, and he has a lot of really great personal experience and research to share. So if you're looking for a male perspective, Vince Leah is a great resource. All right, next up. I feel honesty is the best policy, so I will tell you that I'm vegetarian, but I watch your videos for inspiration, so I will someday go vegan. Thank you. A lot of it has to do with the people I'm surrounded with and the limitation of food choices at times. I'd say my diet is 80% vegan. Being in Ontario, Canada, the choices for vegan foods is limited, not like the States where there is so much more. In a nutshell, I'm a little frustrated, but always looking for the silver lining. I started late in life, and sorry I didn't start earlier, but I'm celebrating the now. So it's the old finding ways to stay vegan, especially when going out to eat in some restaurants. Anyways, thank you so much for caring to ask how I'm doing. Your timing couldn't be any better. I just needed someone to talk to. That last line. Again, exactly why I'm creating Eco Vegan Pal, because time and time again, I hear from people that don't have anyone else to talk to. So I just really can't wait to get Eco Vegan Pal together for you, so you have that regular support system. And another emphasis to anyone watching, please leave comments and for each other and answering these questions, sharing similar stories. You don't know how much you can help one another. So, this was mainly just, there wasn't really a question in there, but I just wanted to address it in case any of you might be in Ontario. I actually know a number of vegans in Ontario or around that area. So from my perspective, which is very limited because I don't think I've ever been to Ontario, I think that there are some decent vegan options. I know Canada, there's a lot of great Canadian vegan and health companies, so maybe there's more options out there than you realize. I just don't happen to know exactly what they are, at least not off the top of my head. So if anyone else is watching that's from Ontario, please leave a comment. I'm sure you could just go on the web and type Ontario vegan and find some options, but I think that this is still very common. Maybe you've tried those options and you don't like them. Maybe you're burnt out on them. Maybe there just doesn't feel like enough. I know it can feel so easy to get envious of the options we have in Los Angeles or New York City or other major US cities. We definitely have it good, but I get envious of the options in Australia and in different parts of the UK and Europe. So, the grass is always greener. And even in LA, I get bored with options from time to time. So it's just all a matter of perspective. It's all relative. I would say that trying to find diversity in the types of food you make at home and then ordering online are two great solutions. So get some great cookbooks or find some wonderful recipe websites. Ask, any friends that you have for suggestions, or try to veganize your friends and family's favorite recipes. And then branch out into the communities online. If you don't know anybody in your regular life, that sounds wrong. But if you don't know anyone that how do I phrase this? Let me just start over and say, if you haven't met a lot of people that are vegan, there are a lot of us out there and a lot of us online that really care and want to support one another. So you can go to YouTube channels, you can go to forums, you can go on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube comments. If that's not your thing, I get it. It's not for everybody, but know that I will do my best to give you that support, and I'm building that platform, Eco Vegan Pal, to make it easier to connect with other people and find these answers. But coming back to my advice, diversifying recipes. So maybe have a mission to try a new vegan recipe once a week. And then you're going to build on that till you find your favorite foods, and then you feel like you have a ton of variety. I would also recommend ordering foods online. It can be a little expensive sometimes, but then you can treat yourself and you can try things that you might not be able to buy in a local store, but you can buy from the US and have it shipped to you, and buy a bunch at once to save on shipping costs. Look for sales, special deals. There's a lot of different ways to get foods from all over the world. We're in such a great time with that. But I get the frustration. I know when I go to Massachusetts, I get a very good perspective being outside of Los Angeles, and I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to get foods in a completely different part of the country. But I also would say that the whole world is becoming more and more vegan friendly. So have some patience there and you'll get there. And 80% vegan is something to be very proud of. So I'm glad to hear that you're making a lot of progress, and that's a huge step. All right. Next, similar question. In the past months, I've moved from Dallas, Texas to Minneapolis. How come I can't say this? Minneapolis. The main reason was having no real friends in Texas. I got very lonely when there was no one to call and meet for a chat. To be honest, when I was lonely in Texas, I watched your videos and felt something like a presence of a friend. That warms my heart so much. I try not to feel that way about people I don't know, but at the very least, I feel like, there's a good person out there in this world. Could I emphasize any more what my point was earlier about supporting one another online? It's amazing how we might not feel like we have friends in real life, but friends online could be a wonderful, not replacement or alternative to that, but a supplement of friends, right? Because I am a real person and I do care. Okay. It would make me feel hopeful who I might meet out in the world outside my door. And I just wanted to bring that up just as an emphasis for the importance of connecting with one another online, but also because this person said, if you ever visit Minneapolis, I recommend Reverie, which is all vegan, and the 100% vegan butcher, I'm having so much trouble pronouncing things today. Oh, okay. Now I'm like, because I'm so focused on it, I'm like, it feels impossible to pronounce it. Is it Herborvia? No. Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing, but I'm doing it anyways. This is real life. If you're still watching, I feel like this is such a highlight of this video. Herborvius? No, it's not herbivore. I guess it could be herbivorous. Why is that so hard? Is that hard for you guys too? Herbivorous butcher. I don't, maybe that's it. Okay, I'm moving on, but there's a place in Minneapolis that is 100% vegan butcher, and I will link to it down below. And if anybody can write out how to say that better, I would greatly appreciate it. Or you can send me an audio message. Wow. I really struggle with pronouncing things, you guys, and it's embarrassing from time to time. But if you're still watching this long video, I know that you don't mind. Okay, moving on. Somebody else said, I had a bit of a blip on my vegan journey and I'm struggling to come out on the other side, but I'll get there. I still rewatch your old videos all the time for comfort. That makes me feel very good because, I have lots, like I said, over 1,000 videos in my queue, and it's nice to know that people still watch the old stuff, even though I feel like a completely different person from when I was back then, but knowing that they're comforting is very sweet. And from this whole video, there's so much proof that having challenges with veganism is something a lot of people go through, and you're not alone. You can get through it. I'm here to support you, and lots of other people watching, asking questions, commenting. We're all in this together, and please, please, please stay tuned for Eco Vegan Pal to help you out with that. Okay, another comment. I love that you actually are so incredibly aware of everything you purchase. Those are goals. I am not there yet. Good on veganism and food, but not with every product in my environment, and I think that is so important. And I wanted to bring this up because being aware is the first step. So just being mindful of what you're doing in your life plays a huge role in everything. I mentioned this earlier when I was talking about weight loss. This is true with veganism. This is true with being eco-friendly, is just being conscious. So yes, I'm aware, but remember, I've also been doing this professionally for many years, and this has been part of my personal life for over 13 years now. Actually, the environmental side of things is something that I have been paying attention to for a great, great part of my life. It's just something that I care deeply about. But it's all relative too. It's relative to our individual lives in terms of the steps we're taking and the awareness we have over time. It's relative to how eco-friendly you consider yourself to be, or how vegan, or what kind of vegan. So being careful not to judge ourselves and where we're at, because it really just is relative to us as individuals. I really don't believe in better or worse. I don't even know if I believe in like right or wrong, because it's often so gray. I am obviously very passionate about veganism, but there are just different types of vegan scenarios out there. So I'm sure that I make some decisions from time to time that aren't considered vegan, because there's non-vegan products all over our lifestyles. And the same thing goes with being eco-friendly. You know, there's different standards, there's different opinions on what's eco-friendly and what's not. You know, people have been upset with me before because I used packaged foods, and, you know, I could go on and on about the subject matter. My point is to do the best that you can with what you know today, to be on a mission to be more conscious about your choices every single day. And if you slip up, if you feel like you're not doing a good enough job, remember that tomorrow's a new day, and actually every moment that we have another opportunity. Every second of our life, we have an opportunity to change, to evolve. And so if you feel like you're not being very eco-friendly, think about what could you do in the next moment that could be more eco-friendly. What could you do the next time you go to the store, the next time you purchase something? What could you do when you run out of something and you need to replenish it? Could you buy something differently? Could you use less packaging? Could you do some planning, like I talked about in the beginning? Planning plays a huge role in being eco-friendly. For instance, if you want to use less packaged food, plan to make more food at home and buy in bulk, go to the farmer's market, go places where they use less packaging. And that might require some planning, because packaged food is very convenient and it can just be this knee-jerk decision. If you're doing things like using a lot of extra paper, like paper towels is a thing that a lot of people can work on. Like, a lot of people just reach for a paper towel to wipe up something and they immediately throw away. Could you make the decision to use a sponge or a cloth or something that you can throw in the washing machine instead? Could you use less water? Could you turn off the faucet when you're brushing your teeth? I mean, on and on. All these little moments in our life, we have the opportunity to shift. We have the opportunity to become more conscious of. So I appreciate the compliment, but I want to empower the person who said this and everybody else watching, that we can all make new decisions. We have to commit to them, we have to become aware of them, and we have to give ourselves credit for where we're at right now. And remember, we always have a chance to start again, to do things differently, and to improve. Just don't beat yourself up over where you're at or try to compare yourself too much to what other people are doing, because we all have different stories and different journeys. Okay, what else do we have here? Someone just said, I'm doing great except for this stupid cold, but I'm getting better. I do want to say my top cold tips, because I know this is a time of year when people tend to get sick, and it can be really frustrating when you're sick. Drink lots and lots of water, like I've emphasized earlier. Water plays a huge role in our health overall, cleansing us, detoxifying us. Lots of hot beverages. Ginger, of course, is phenomenal for colds, as is garlic. Raw garlic is one of the most powerful things you can do and consume when you're sick. So you could actually just ingest a whole piece of raw garlic, as unpleasant it might be, and your body will, like, it has all these antimicrobial or antibacterial, one or the other, elements to it that are really great. And so garlic and ginger are my two favorite things. Lots of water. If you ever need advice on herbal supplements, actually it's in my bathroom right now, my herbal medicine shelf. I'll link to it down below. I think it's called Cold Crush, and it's an all natural, I don't remember if it was holistic or homeopathic remedy for colds, and it's like chewable, super delicious. So there's a lot of products out there like that you can try out. You can either get in a local natural store or you can get it online. Sorry, I feel like it got really bright in here all of a sudden. I'm trying to adjust the brightness. Problem with this camera. It's not so good for that. Anyways, if you guys ever want recommendations on natural remedies, be happy to answer it. I believe in all of your ability to fight off health conditions because eating really well and taking good care of yourself is the best medicine in my opinion. So make sure you get plenty of sleep. Don't have a lot of stress. Give yourself time off when you're not feeling well. Let yourself go to bed early, wake up late, take days off work if you need to, heal yourself. Sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves to get better or to push through the pain or whatever, but one of the best things that you can do when you're not feeling well is to simply rest and lots of liquids. So just throwing it out there. You may be better by the time you see this video, but for anybody else watching, there are lots of ways that we can push through colds and flus and sickness a lot faster than we realize through natural medicine. Somebody also said that they were not very optimistic, but working on it. And I just want to send some love out to you. I don't know specifically what you don't feel optimistic about, but optimism can be a struggle for some of us, especially in certain parts of our lives. And just know that there are people out there that care about you, that are rooting for you. And if you ever need resources on being more optimistic, I am full of them. I really prioritize that in my life. Some of my favorite things to do when I'm not feeling well is to use essential oils. I feel like the person that wrote that might have been a guy, and sometimes men are like, essential oils, I don't know about that, but let me tell you, essential oils are incredible. The power of inhaling in certain smells can really affect our moods. And I use that a lot when I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling pessimistic. I just put some essential oils on my pulse points, so my wrists, up here in my head, on my neck. Sometimes I just breathe it in. I'll light a candle or some incense or something just to get that good smell in the air, and it switches my mood very fast. Also, tea is very helpful. I love tea, and tea just can have, especially herbal tea, can have a great effect inside. It just warms us up, makes us feel better. And meditation. I mean, if you've never tried meditation, if you're scared of it because it seems kind of woo-woo, or you tried it before and it didn't work, when you're not feeling well, yesterday, perfect example actually. I suddenly got struck with a bizarre, deep sense of anger I got triggered by something, and I just felt angry. And it just so happened I was going to meditation class, and I was sitting there in meditation class, just not feeling great. And I just tried my best to let go, and I hoped that by the time meditation was over, I would feel better. And believe it or not, I'm sure you would believe it if you've ever done meditation, it completely shifted my mood. And it just reminded me of the power of meditation. So spending 5 minutes in silence is a great way to start. You can use apps out there. You can listen to podcasts. There's so many meditation resources. You can just do a web search for meditation, and you will find so many resources. If you need any specific resources, let me know. But I would also read books. There's a lot of really wonderful books out there that can uplift you, that can help you shift your moods, become more optimistic. And I don't know exactly what's going on in your life, but sometimes you can find books that are very specific to the challenges we have in life, and they just offer up some perspective, remind us that we're not alone, and help us understand how to shift out of that. Optimism plays a very big role in our lives. When you said not very optimistic because of something that's happening outside of yourself in the world, for example, the power of coming together as a community is amazing. And this, especially what's happening in the United States with the presidency, and how people are reacting to it, and how people are coming together to just talk about it and to share their opinions on things and to stand up for themselves. It just shows that collectively we can make a lot of shifts and really support one another. So if that's what you're feeling, reach out to some other people, or just watch inspiring videos online, or get into conversations, and try not to surround yourself with pessimistic people is the last piece of advice I'd give. It's very easy when we're feeling frustrated or angry, or we're feeling just plain old pessimistic. Sometimes it feels good to surround ourselves with other people that feel the same way, and we're all like, yeah, let's all be pessimistic together. Yeah, I feel this way too. That can like feel very cathartic in some ways, but it ultimately rarely shifts anything. It's better to stay away from those people and try to find people that think more positively than you, so that hopefully you will absorb some of their optimism. Okay, couple more things. I know it's a long video. I've been eating super clean since the start of the year, and that's really helping with my energy levels, concentration, and mindset. I think it's the virtuous cycle in action. Have you heard of that? It's the opposite of a vicious cycle. There you go. Great example how eating can really help with how you feel. So as I mentioned earlier, sometimes when we don't feel good emotionally, we go to eating foods that are not very good for us, and that actually cause our body harm, can cause our body more stress, and cause us to feel worse about ourselves. So eating super clean is, relative to how you're eating, but I would assume that probably means unprocessed and basic. So if you feel like you haven't been feeling very good emotionally, you can really heal yourself by making some really solid unprocessed foods. Like one of my go-tos is grain bowls. I like warm foods. So I'll do like warm brown rice or warm quinoa with warm vegetables, roasted vegetables or lightly sauteed vegetables, steamed vegetables. Did I say that already? And soups. Soups are so great. Just that warmth of it and taking in the soup in your body, it's just like instantly healing on so many levels. And there's so many great, delicious plant-based soups out there. So you can buy them at restaurants, it's prepared at stores, or make them yourself to save money and like make a huge batch so you could freeze or put in the refrigerator. So good. And I love that idea of the virtuous cycle versus the vicious cycle. Great point. Next, I was born in the, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Goa state of India. It's not easy to resist fish because it's the state of beaches, this part of India. And believe me, some of the fish are heavenly. I got introduced to the vegan concept on Facebook. Ever since I embraced the concept of not harming a living form for hunger and also to save our planet. It's nice being vegan. I feel energetic and healthy, both mind and soul. Another great perspective that when you are eating well, you can feel good physically and mentally, and on a soul level, if you believe in the difference. And I love this too, because this person is, committed to veganism, even though they're surrounded by the temptations of wonderful fish dishes all the time. So I just want to give some props and use that as inspiration for other people. Sometimes when we're in certain parts of the world, whether we're living there or we're visiting, it can be very tempting to eat what everybody else is eating or eat the specialties. But if you're committed to veganism, you're committed to your health, that can rule and take priority over any other temptations. But it also depends on where you're at. Sometimes people really struggle and they give in to temptations. And if that is happening to you, don't beat yourself up. Just know, as I said earlier, tomorrow's a new day. You can always start over and make some new decisions. And remember that there are people out there that are struggling just like you and have found a way to make it through those struggles and beat those temptations. So sometimes just knowing that can inspire you to do the same. Another person wanted to point out, we live in quite an interesting time, which makes us both privileged and responsible. We all have to step up our game. I'm choosing to feel extreme hope and faith in 2017. Love that. And lastly, this is a great one to end on. It is so nice to see your new video, especially in these times where a certain level of caring and concern seems to be disparaged by mainstream authority. The Women's March I attended this weekend made me feel a similar feeling to watching your videos. Who we are does not change, and if we want to be conscious creatures, that spirit is not diminished. Much like the lesson I take from videos of yours, the takeaway from the election is that the good and healthy options out there are good and healthy options out there, but we need to be mindful and really set our goals and our focus, and having fun is part of the goals. So it's not like joy is going out the door. It's more like it's being welcomed in. Love that. It's not like joy is going out the door. It's more that it's being welcomed in. I love that positive mindset. See what I mean? Like, I love just reading the differences between all the different comments and questions. And you guys kind of like answer your own questions within one another. That's why you need to support each other. So continue doing it in the comments. Stay tuned for Eco Vegan Pal. Thank you so much for all of this. Before I wrap this up, I want to give 2 shout outs to some people. Number 1, there's something called the Veganic Gardening Project documentary. It's on GoFundMe. I haven't checked it out too much yet, but this person was telling me about their project and I thought it sounded really cool. It's all about how you can have a healthy and productive garden in a small space without using any animal products or animals. So no chickens or cows or whatever, just having a garden and growing wonderful food without using animal fertilizers or chemicals and all of that, I assume. So I'm really looking forward to learning more about this. I guess it's a whole documentary. It sounds awesome, so I'm going to link to it. Support one another. Go check it out. Spread the word. Contribute what you can. I think that is such a wonderful piece of information to share out there, because a lot of people want a garden, but they feel like they don't have enough space, or they don't know how to do it vegan, or they just don't know how to garden, which would be me. I really need to learn how to garden. So I'm definitely going to go check this out. And next, I want to share the Vegan Speed Date. My friend from Northern California, when I was living up there, she started this thing called Vegan Speed Dating, or Veg Speed Dating, she's calling it. So it's for vegans and vegetarians. And I went to one of these to document it, and it was so cool. She had, you can see the videos down below, and this is many years ago, so I think it's gotten even better. But it was a way for vegetarians and vegans and just veg-curious people to meet one another. And it's described as a fun, low-stress way to meet other veg singles. Think of it like mini chats, just getting to know someone for a few minutes. So it takes a lot of the pressure off. It helps you meet new people, which I know a lot of you guys are looking for. But if you're single, it's a way to meet like-minded people that you could potentially date. They are launching with over 40 speed dating events, I think, just across the US, but you can check out their website for more information. Spread the word, pass it on to anybody else who might find this interesting, and check out the video that I did a while ago to get a little feel for what it might be like. I think it's going to be even better. So maybe one of these days I'll go to it and do a new video. I don't know. Maybe like on Instagram stories or something. My days of like, I used to make a ton of event videos when I first started Eco Vegan Gal, and I haven't done that in a long time, but it was really fun doing them back then. Anyways, check them out. The Veganic Documentary Project, Vegan Speed Date, they are linked to down below, as well as links to everything I've talked about today, the Eco Vegan Pal, sign up to stay in the loop, the newsletter where all these questions came from, and please, please, please leave a comment, spread the love, spread the positivity, the optimism, share your tips, ask any questions you might have for me, and you never know, I might do another one of these videos very soon. I'm just under the hour mark. Thanks for sticking with me. Feel like we're throwing it back to the old Q&A days. I hope you enjoyed this, and I don't know when I'll do another one, but stay tuned. I will have more of that series I just started called Things I've Been Meaning to Tell You coming up, and maybe this week I'll have one. We'll see. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you're the first to know. Otherwise, the newsletter is a great place to stay in touch, as well as social media. So where I spread the word. All my links to social media are down below in the description field. There's like a gold mine of information there for you today. I want to send lots of love, positivity, and support out to you. I hope that this video helped you. If it didn't, well, let me know where else I can fill in the gaps. I love getting to know each of you, what you're going through. My mission is to support you in feeling happy and healthy, living that eco-vegan lifestyle, or getting as close to where you want to be as possible. And it really is an amazing opportunity to be able to connect with each of you. So thanks again. I will see you very soon. And until then, wishing you all the best with your individual journeys. Bye.